will be EPS of B if debt is 900? और बढ़ेगा कम होगा?
बढ़ जाएगा।
बढ़ जाएगा। कितना बढ़ जाएगा प्रोपोर्शनेटली? मतलब 900 अगर आप करें, 500 से 900 किया, कितना परसेंट बढ़ाया आपने?
80%।
80%।
तो आपका जो है EPS 80% बढ़ेगा या 100, 200, 300 बढ़ेगा?
300
ज्यादा बढ़ेगा। अपने ये
मोर देन इट सर।
अगर आप उसका एक प्लॉट करें तो लीनियर होगा या कौन सा कर्व होगा वो?
So it will not be linear. Change
कौन सा होगा वो कर्व? अच्छा, सोच लीजिए। अब नेक्स्ट आ जाता सवाल इस पर कि कंडीशंस अंडर विच फर्म शुड लोअर और इंक्रीज इट्स डेट इक्विटी रेशियो। क्या आपको ये रियलिस्टिक लगता है? फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल यू शुड आंसर इट नॉट एज ए स्टूडेंट ऑफ accounting, not as a student of accounting, as a student of management, as a student who is matured. Just for example, if I ask you by changing capital structure EPS is increasing substantially, this is what slides are showing. स्लाइड यही तो बता रही है ना?
Yes sir.
Yes.
आपकी अर्निंग तो सेम है, आपकी 20% अर्न कर रहे हैं एसेट के ऊपर, 200 अर्न कर रहे हैं, बट बाय चेंजिंग कैपिटल स्ट्रक्चर, बाय चेंजिंग डेट इक्विटी रेशियो, योर EPS इज इंक्रीजिंग सब्सटेंशियली। 1 से 1.5 हुआ, 1.5 से 3 हुआ, 3 से 5 हुआ, समथिंग लाइक दैट। सो एज ए स्टूडेंट ऑफ मैनेजमेंट ओनली, लीविंग अकाउंटिंग अपार्ट, क्या ये पॉसिबल है कि मेयरली बाय चेंजिंग डेट इक्विटी रेशियो वी कैन चेंज अवर अर्निंग पर शेयर?
No sir.
अच्छा, क्यों नहीं है ये बताइए, उसका लॉजिक कुछ बताइए। लिविंग अकाउंटिंग नॉलेज
It will be high risk अगर हम इतना डेप्ट लेते रहेंगे तो it will be high risk.
चलिए, एक तो हाई रिस्क आपने बताया, दूसरी वजह बताइए।
It will not be a realistic approach.
और बताइए। वो तो जब आप पे करेंगे तो, अच्छा सपोज पे भी करते हैं तो विल इट अफेक्ट योर प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी? हियर लाइज द अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ अकाउंटिंग, बिकॉज जस्ट वन सेकेंड, इनके क्वेश्चन को क्लैरिफाई करते हैं, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है क्लैरिटी के पर्पज से आप सब के लिए। he is a bit, he is not perhaps some problem when we pay back. Now paying back debt or receiving debt, has it got anything to do with profitability? देखिए, प्रॉफिट कैलकुलेट करने के लिए आप एक्सपेंसेस और इनकम को से कैलकुलेट करते हैं, और रीपेमेंट ऑफ लोन में ना तो इनकम आती है ना एक्सपेंस आता, तो प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी विल नॉट बी अफेक्टेड। इफ यू हैव इनफ ऑफ सरप्लस ऑफ सेविंग यू कैन पे बैक, so whenever you pay back it will not be affecting your profitability. Okay, तीसरी चीज जो आप अब now expect, I was asking you your observations कि practically possible नहीं है, रिस्क हो जाएगा, और बताइए।
सर नंबर ऑफ शेयर होल्डर्स।
नहीं, नंबर ऑफ शेयर होल्डर्स तो कम होंगे तो EPS ज्यादा हो जाएगा, उसमें क्या दिक्कत है? नंबर ऑफ शेयर होल्डर्स के बारे में कुछ और बताइए, क्या कहना चाह रहे हैं? देखिए, कुल मिलाकर के लीविंग अकाउंटिंग अपार्ट, जस्ट एज ए कॉमन मैन, समथिंग विच सीम्स अननेचुरल, समथिंग विच सीम्स क्वाइट अनरीजनेबल, 99.99% chances are that it will not materialize, it will be fake. If somebody says you invest 10 rupees, I guarantee you a return of 1000%. ऐसा पॉसिबल है?
नो सर।
अगर ऐसा होता तो now apply the same concept, apply the same logic to capital structure और debt equity ratio. अगर EPS को इंक्रीज करना इतना आसान होता कि merely by changing debt equity ratio EPS will increase, every firm will resort to that. Why should you work hard? Why should you work day in and day out? Why should you adopt all those means? You should simply change your capital structure and that's it, isn't it? इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि ये चीज जो है वो थ्योरेटिकली अच्छी लगती है, बट प्रैक्टिकली ऐसा होगा नहीं, प्रैक्टिकली ऐसा नहीं होगा। अगर ऐसा होता तो सारी फर्म्स यही कर लिया करते। ओके, आई विल कम बैक इन टुडेज क्लास इटसेल्फ गिविंग यू more examples and more logic for that. So next is, just one second. Next is, can the firm be continue to increase debt from 50 to 90%? अभी तो 50-50 है बी में, क्या ये 50 to 90 कर सकती है, 50 से 90 कर सकती है, 1:9 कर सकती है, 1:9.99 कर सकती है?
Sir, theoretically it can do, but
ठीक ठीक ठीक,
practically not.
Mathematically it can do, but realistically
Yes, sir. Practically possible नहीं है.
ये बताइए conditions in which a firm should lower down or increase debt equity ratio, किस हालत में उसको करना चाहिए, किस में नहीं करना चाहिए?
Sir, when the profitability of a firm is less, then in that case it try to reduce the debt equity ratio because
Very good. Okay.
fixed rate of
Good.
interest is to be paid.
Very good. Any other observation? This is correct observation कि when the profitability is less, आपके सामने slide है ना इस वक्त?
yes,
Yes.
sir.
ओके, बताइए इस वक्त क्या कॉम्बिनेशन है? 10% इंटरेस्ट एंड 20% ROI. किस कंडीशन में लोअर करना चाहिए? When interest is
More
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 than
in
the ROI.
ROA is less.
ROE is less. Suppose interest is 10% but ROA is 9%. In such a case, what should the firm do? Should lower down.
Lower.
And in the current scenario, it should
Increase.
increase. This is only mathematically. Otherwise, the situation is, the real world is entirely different. I'll explain to you, just one second, let me check. I'll explain to you under what condition and what are the logic because of which one logic you have explained. But the, mathematics, sorry, not mathematics, the economics behind it, why should it not, or why will it not practically be possible? Why practically it will be impossible to do what is shown on this slide. But in order to illustrate the concept of financial leverage, I have, just shown you these slides. We will have a detailed discussion on these in your financial management class. Okay. Now I am posting a question in the chat box. I'll post 2 questions. I am posting just one now. You answer this. Just one second. Let me just check what I have written. You remember on the Google Classroom, I asked you that you update your file, continue updating your file, record what you were asked to. Somebody asked me, okay, what is to be done with that? You were supposed to update it up to 5 p.m. day before yesterday when Parvez Saab took the class. So the question is posted. Answer it now. You should write either Y or N. Even if you have not done, do write. It's very, very encouraging that you have done it. Very good. Everybody has written?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good. I am posting another question. The right answer for that also. Just one second. I'm copying. I already keep it in a file and I simply cut and paste. In case you have calculated your grades, just mention your grades here. If not, Write your roll number followed by grade. Good.
Sir, without calculating, without adding Calcutta Motors grades.
हाँ, फिल वक्त तो कैलकाटा मोटर को छोड़ के ऐड कर लीजिए, कोई दिक्कत नहीं.
सर HA स्टूडेंट्स N लिखें कि छोड़ दें?
HA स्टूडेंट मेरे ख्याल से ना लिखें, कोई ये लिख दीजिए, कोई दिक्कत नहीं, कोई ऐसा उसमें नुकसान थोड़ी है, लिख दीजिए, जितना भी आपका आ रहा है वो तो चेंज होगा ही होगा. I just wish to see, I have also made the calculations, how far these calculations are compatible. For example, somebody is writing 17.5/23, क्या मतलब है इसका भाई?
सर वो कैलकाटा मोटर्स हटा के लिखा था, इसलिए 20
हटा के 17.5 और जोड़ करके 23 पॉइंट वो.
नहीं आउट ऑफ 23 सर.
अच्छा, आउट ऑफ, लेकिन आउट ऑफ 23. गुड, आउट ऑफ 23 लिखा आपने, ठीक. गॉट इट. ऑल राइट, हैज एवरीबॉडी रिटन? Okay, if you have all written, let me just type one more small this thing. Those of you who have written N, in case of file, post on my private number. Why is it so? Those of you who have written N, that is you could not update the file, just message me now in case of updating file, why you could not do so, and also why not grade also. Grade आपने क्यों वर्कआउट नहीं किया? Just do not post it here. Just I wish to maintain your privacy. At least let me know कि भाई you could not do so. We'll resume our discussion.
सर
जी बताइए.
सर जिन्होंने सर कैलकाटा मोटर से सबमिट नहीं किया है सर उनको क्या करना है?
वो मैं बाद में बताऊंगा क्या करना. फिल वक्त तो आप विदाउट कैलकाटा मोटर्स कैलकुलेट करके पोस्ट कर देते.
कर दिया सर.
हाँ बस ठीक, कोई दिक्कत नहीं. मैं I'll get back to them. Soon I'll decide what is to be done with those who joined late. जिनका डिपार्टमेंट सी की वजह से कोई प्रॉब्लम रही, दाखिला लेट हुआ, तो वो कैसे कर सकते थे जमा. Okay, now we go back to where were we? So this part I have explained to you. More of it, that is why is it practically not possible from the accounting point of view, or from the economics point of view, from the economy point of view. That part I will take up later. So this complete our discussion on ratio analysis. So I'll take up, just let me check what is scheduling for the next day. Just 1 second. Yes, I have, I'll change the, I'll load another presentation which I need to upload, and stop sharing. I have deleted that slide. Not deleted that slide. I have, I will be sharing another slide which is for the next topic for the discussion. So we have completed our discussion on ratio analysis. One thing to be explained to you after after some time is about the other reasons why a higher debt equity ratio will not lead to higher EPS. This I'll explain in this second period. Today we have to engage 2 sessions. So now let me start with another topic. This is the last topic of financial statement analysis. If you can recall, we started financial statement analysis using, I explained to you that there will be 5 techniques: common size statement, comparative statement, trend percentages, ratio analysis, or and fifth one is a fund flow statement. In all the previous four, very little time was spent on trend percentages or comparative or common size statement because they were simply mathematical calculations in terms of a percentage only. And we spent enough time on ratio analysis. Similarly, we will spend enough time on, perhaps more time on, a fund flow statement. This is a technique of of analyzing financial statement. I'll explain to you its meaning. I'll explain to you the preparation steps. 6-7 steps I have just mentioned here. So we will start with fund flow statement. Before that, if you have any question in your mind, you can ask. If not, then I'll move on to explaining you the meaning of this fund flow statement. I mean, I'll start with this one. Any question? Yes.
Sir, can you please explain the difference between funds and cash?
Okay, that perhaps will be at the end, right? So
Okay, sir.
first you, in general, because several may not be comfortable with the basic concepts. So let me first explain. When we reach at the final stage, I'll be able to explain to you that better there. One more question somebody asked in the beginning, and I asked him to remind when the entire class is there. I don't remember what was the question. Can somebody recall?
It's about ROI, analyzing its effect and magnitude of
Good,
change.
got it. What was the serial number?
Sir, 4, I guess.
Okay. Even if serial number you don't remember, let me explain. One of the observations that I shared with you in ROI was that none of you, or at least I could not notice the interpretation of magnitude of change in the ROI by all of you. With that, what I meant was, suppose you change expense by a particular percentage. Let us say you reduce an expense by 10%. It reduces your ROI by a particular percent. Note down that. Again, you change the expense, instead of decreasing, you increase it, or instead of increasing, you decrease. So you will notice some change in ROI. Apply the same with your revenue. Increase revenue by a particular percentage and see its change. Again, decrease the revenue, see its change. There is one aspect of change. Secondly, you change either asset or liability. ROI will again change. So what you were expected to observe, in which particular scenario ROI is responding linear way or a straight way, or in which case the magnitude of change was more. Can you at least think why I'm asking you to see the effect of changes of revenue and expense separately and see the effect of changes in assets and liabilities separately? Why is it that I'm asking? Okay, this should also have been observed. Any other? Okay. Any other answer?
Sir, revenue and expenses will affect NPM,
Okay.
and assets and liabilities will affect the next element only.
Any other? Okay, fine. Any other reason?
So the effect of change in increase or decrease in expenses will be the same as the increase and decrease in revenue by the same
Right.
percentage.
Any other answer? Perhaps more to the accounting language. See, in case
Because
of
they are on the profit.
yes, in
Income
case you are
statement.
calculating, yes, you got it. In case you are calculating the changes in revenue and expenses, so you are talking about profit and loss account. In case you are observing the effect of change in assets and liabilities, you are talking about balance sheet. So profit and loss account of financial statement has strictly two components: one profit and loss statement, another one balance sheet. So in one case you are referring to a P&L account, in the other case you are referring to balance sheet. Second important observation, or second important reason for asking you to have observed profit, loss and balance sheet separately was that expenses and revenue is a function of management control. people at senior, middle, lower, wherever level, it is their responsibility to either increase the revenue or cut down the expenses to increase the profitability. So that part concerns the management. When it comes to balance sheet, this part primarily does not concern the management. This part primarily concerns the owners, the stakeholders. Suppose you are working as an employee. So if you are working as an employee, your performance will be judged based on the resources provided to you, isn't it? So profit and loss, management level; balance sheet, owners or stakeholders level. That is why these two should have been, seen separately. So this was the aspect which I could not find in any of the analysis. You got the, you got the reason now.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. You also must have observed if 10%, expenses increase, so naturally there will be a decrease in ROI. But if 10% assets decrease, the effect will be more or less.
Less.
Because profit and loss, revenue and expenses are directly affecting your ROI. Resources do affect, but not directly. If you are able to control the expenses, your profitability will increase. Or if you are able to increase the revenue, profitability will increase. But if you increase the resources, will profitability immediately increase or decrease?
No, directly
No,
not.
it will take time before this can take effect into. So these were the logic and these were the reasons. Okay, if no questions, we move on to the next topic. Next topic is about fund flow statement. Now, to give you the background of fund flow statement, suppose you have a situation that the company has made adequate profit, reasonably good profit compared to what is the prevalent trend in the industry. Everybody is earning about between 10 to 12%, and the company in question has earned 11%. So it's a comfortable situation. You are, somehow responding to, you're going as per the industry. So it has earned that much of profit. But at times it is possible that the company is unable to pay its liabilities, is unable to, even pay for the salaries. It is defaulting on rent. What could be the reasons? A highly profitable company is unable to honor its commitment. What could be the reasons?
So due to like less funds.
Less funds. Okay, less funds क्यों
Less
होंगे?
sales. Less sales.
अच्छा, अब बताइए, यहाँ एक मिनट रुकिए, आपने कहा लेस सेल्स। आप ये बताइए, अगर लेस सेल्स होगी तो प्रॉफिट ज्यादा कैसे हो जाएगा?
सिर्फ प्रॉफिट इसमें ज्यादा होगा, बट जो उसके स्टेक होल्डर्स है वो बहुत ज्यादा होंगे, उसकी वजह से जो आपका
No. See, why I am each time, every sentence I ask you questions, because questions clarify your misunderstanding. अगर आपने कोई चीज गलत समझ रखी है और आप वही जवाब देंगे तभी तो मैं सही से एक्सप्लेन कर पाऊंगा। अब जैसे अभी दुष्यंत ने कहा सेल्स, अब आप ये बताइए, अगर सेल्स कम होगी तो प्रॉफिट तो ज्यादा हो ही नहीं सकता। इसका मतलब सेल्स इज नॉट ए प्रॉब्लम। अगर सेल्स होती ना तो प्रॉफिट, अगर सेल्स नहीं होती, अच्छा, तो आपने क्रांतिका तुमने क्या बताया कि
फंड्स की कमी है।
अच्छा, फंड्स की, तो मैं यही तो जानना चाह रहा हूँ, फंड्स की कमी क्यों है?
Sir, like Riza mentioned, maybe they have taken lots of debt and they have to pay interest on it, which is.
सुनो, रुको यहीं रुको। दे हैव टू पे लॉट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट, तो इंटरेस्ट तो पे कर दिया होगा उन्होंने, और कैन दे मैनेज विदाउट पेइंग इंटरेस्ट? तो पे कर दिया होगा, एंड दैट कैलकुलेशन वुड हैव ऑलरेडी बीन फैक्टर्ड इनटू व्हाइल कैलकुलेटिंग प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी। ठीक है ना?
Sir, due to lack of working capital.
अच्छा,
Money may be blocked.
वर्किंग कैपिटल कम क्यों होगी? वर्किंग कैपिटल कम क्यों होगी?
सर फंड्स का फ्लो ठीक से नहीं हो पा रहा है।
क्या बताइए, क्या नहीं फ्लो, कैसे नहीं हो पा रहा?
सर जैसे शीट में लिखा हुआ है
नहीं, फंड्स
मतलब
का फ्लो ठीक नहीं हो पा रहा, तो कुछ थोड़ा एलेबोरेट कीजिए क्यों नहीं हो पा रहा। हियर
सर फिक्स्ड एसेट में कुछ फंड्स ज्यादा लगा दिया हो और लॉन्ग टर्म लायबिलिटीज हो हमारे ऊपर,
हमने
लंबे
असेट्स में
थोड़े।
ज्यादा लगा दिया हो। ओके,
यस सर।
ठीक है, वन ऑफ द पॉसिबिलिटी कुड बी कि द प्रॉफिट दैट वी हैव अर्न वी हैव इन्वेस्टेड इन असेट्स। ठीक है, और बताइए।
यस सर, कुछ लायबिलिटीज हो बड़ी बड़ी,
हाँ, तो अगर
उधर भी तो
लायबिलिटीज,
फंड्स जाएंगे, जैसे कोई बड़ा लोन हो हमारे ऊपर।
अगर बड़ा लोन हो तो हमारे पास पैसा तो आ गया होगा।
Yes, sir. So money may be blocked in form of
वेट वेट, एक
debtors.
सेकंड, तुम वंशिका बताना बिल्कुल ठीक बता रही हो, बाद में पहले इनको क्लैरिफाई कर दें। इफ देयर इज a great liability, more liability, we would have received money. If money is available, we can pay salaries. So that means it is not a possibility. अब बताओ तुम वंशिका, you were saying something right.
So money may be blocked in the form of debtors.
Yes, money may be blocked in the form of debtors. आपने सेल तो किया, you have sold goods, you have calculated profit, but your sales was on credit. Your sales was on credit, so you have no money. Can this be a possible reason?
Yes, sir.
It can
Yes,
be.
sir.
It
Yes,
can
sir.
be. Here I
Sir,
wanted you.
consumption.
मैंने आपसे बताया था ना कि यहाँ अकाउंटिंग नॉलेज आपकी काम आ रही। Which system of accounting are you following? Accrual or cash?
Accrual.
Accrual.
Means
Accrual.
you are recording the day transaction is taking place. You are not waiting for the money to be received. So
Yes.
because we are following accrual system, so therefore there is a difference between profitability and cash flow, isn't it? In order to assess the financial health of a company, we should not merely look at the profitability, but also look at the funds flow statement, also look at the availability of funds, also look at the liquidity of company. Only then we can decide about the financial health of a company. है कि नहीं? हेल्दी पर्सन आप किसे कहेंगे? जिसके सारे पैरामीटर्स ठीक से काम कर रहे होंगे वही तो हेल्दी होगा ना।
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
आदमी को मान लीजिए अनफॉर्चुनेटली बुखार है, लेकिन किसी को दिल का दौरा पड़ा हुआ है, तो कौन बेटर होगा?
बुखार वाला।
बुखार वाला है।
So that means we have to see the what are the vital situations wherein a company can be classified as a nearly bankrupt. देखने में बहुत अच्छी लग रही है लेकिन bankrupt के करीब है, देखने में बहुत खराब लग रही है, प्रॉफिट बहुत कम हो रहा है लेकिन फाइनेंशियली अदरवाइज साउंड है, दोनों चीजें ठीक हैं, दोनों चीजें खराब। तो you have to have various analysis before you can finally decide about the financial health of a company, and fund flow statement is just one of those techniques. We will see what are the sources from which we are receiving funds and what are the heads on which we are spending funds. Suppose one of the sources of receiving funds could be loan. तो आप पैसा तो आपके पास है, आपने लोगों को उसे सैलरी दे दी, बट विल दैट सिचुएशन और कैन द सिचुएशन लास्ट फॉर एवर? अगली बार सैलरी देने के लिए फिर आप लोन ले लेंगे, सेकंड टाइम, थर्ड टाइम, बट कैन दिस कंटिन्यू फॉर एवर?
नो सर, बिकॉज अभी डेट बढ़ता जा रहा है,
बढ़ता जा रहा है, लायबिलिटी बढ़ती जा रही है, इंटरेस्ट लायबिलिटी बढ़ती जा रही है। दैट मींस we have to decide the sources of funds and we have decided the application of funds. कहाँ से पैसे आ रहे हैं, कहाँ जा रहे हैं, कहाँ ब्लॉक हो रहे हैं, कहाँ से मिल रहे हैं। So depending on the quality of funds that we are receiving and sources of funds that we are spending, etc., we will be able to know about the financial stability of the company. How do we do it? This I'll explain to you in various steps. I have listed here 4 steps: 5.2.2, 2.3, 2.4, 2.5. It will ultimately result in 2.6. So the way where funds are blocked, the way where funds are received from, for the sources can be classified into 4 categories. I'll take up those one by one. We start with funds from or blocked in working capital. When I'm writing from, it is source. When I'm writing blocked, it is application. Use, sources of funds and uses of funds. So funds can be blocked in working capital, or funds can be available from working capital. Funds can be released from working capital, and funds can be blocked in working capital. How to calculate that? This part I'll explain with respect to each of these steps. So let me move on to the second slide to explain the first step. Okay, to explain the, just let me go back to the slide where were we. Just 1 second. Explain the first step. First step was calculation of funds or sources of funds from working capital or blockage of funds in working capital. This slide is visible to you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the steps I have listed are very, very simple. What all you have to do is step number 1. Find out current assets of previous year. In the balance sheet, there will be 2 years previous year and current years. If you wish to find out the previous year's current assets, what do? Pick up all current assets of previous year. Previous year means if you have 2 years, let us say 1920, 2021. So 2021 will be current year and before that will be previous year. So you take all the current assets of previous year, all current liabilities of previous year. Let us say one was X, the other was Y. Difference between X and Y will be Z, which will be equal to net working capital of previous year. Is this clear? This is step number 1.
Can you
Okay.
recall once again?
Okay. See, we have to calculate net working capital of previous year. What is net working capital? Current assets minus current
Liabilities.
Liabilities.
In order to calculate current assets and in order to find out difference between current assets and current liabilities, what we have to do? We have to pick up current assets of previous year. We have to pick up current liabilities of previous year. We have to take difference between the two. That is it. Let us assume that current assets of previous years are X, current liabilities of previous year are Y, and difference between the two is equal to Z. So we have assumed 60,000 rupees. How are we getting 60,000? You have totaled X, you have totaled Y, and you have taken the difference. Let us say it was for 2019. Based on the same line, exactly on the same method, we calculate current year. See the difference between these two steps. In the first step, you are taking previous year. In the second step, you are taking
Current year.
all current assets of current year, all current liabilities of current year. Difference between the two, let us say C, and let us say assume it is 75,000. We can say that net working capital in 2019, how much was it?
60,000.
60. And 2020, what is your net working capital?
75,000.
Is there an increase in net working capital or decrease?
Increase, sir.
Increase. Look at the second last line. Working capital has increased by rupees
15,000.
15,000.
Before I go ahead and start and explain the interpretation, let me know, is the calculation clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Clear to each one of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good.
Yes, sir.
Now this 15,000 is a source for you. Source means you are receiving money from source. An application, you are spending money on some head. So is it a source for you or application?
Source.
अच्छा काम कीजिए, जाइए उसके अंदर चैट बॉक्स में और लिखिए this 15,000. How much was the figure?
15,000.
15,000.
Sir, can you please explain what is source and application here?
I'll do that.
Yes, sir.
Wait a minute. The question, the explanation I gave you was that in previous year, in 2019, the amount of your net working capital was 60,000. Okay.
Yes, sir.
In 2020, your working capital you have calculated is 75,000. So this is an increase in working capital compared to previous year to the extent of rupees 15,000. The question was, this 15,000 is a source or application. Source means you get money from various sources. For example, you sell part of your building. So it is a source or application.
Source.
Source.
You borrow on long-term basis.
Source.
Source.
You return loan.
Application.
Application.
You buy furniture.
Source.
Application.
No, acha, हाँ. Yes,
Application. Let us assume just once. Let us assume in 2019 furniture value was 10,000. Listen carefully. In 2019 value of furniture was 10,000. In 2020, value of furniture is 13,000. What inference can you draw?
The value has been decreased.
Price of wood
So
has increased.
application of 3,000.
Application of 3,000. You bought furniture worth rupees
3,000.
3,000.
कोई और इंटरप्रिटेशन हो सकता है इसका?
So working capital will decrease.
नहीं, आई एम स्पेसिफिकली टॉकिंग अबाउट फर्नीचर. वर्किंग कैपिटल की बात नहीं कर रहा है. मान के चलिए दो बैलेंस शीट हैं आपकी, एक साल, एक 2019 की, एक 2020 की. 2019 में फर्नीचर का बैलेंस था 10 एंड 2013 में 2020 में फर्नीचर का बैलेंस है 13. तो 3,000 क्या हुआ? ये इंक्रीज और डिक्रीज?
Decrease.
डिक्रीज कहाँ से हो जाएगा?
Increase, sir.
So
Increase.
balance sheet remains unaffected.
नहीं, बैलेंस शीट remains unaffected. What I am asking, this change of rupees 3,000 in the value of furniture, in the figure of furniture, what is your conclusion? The value has increased or decreased?
Increase.
Increased. What is it? Source or application?
13.
सोर्स ऑफ मनी और एप्लीकेशन ऑफ मनी?
Application.
एप्लीकेशन. इसलिए कि भाई आपने पहले 10,000 की वैल्यू थी, अब 13,000 3,000 का आपने फर्नीचर खरीदा होगा, तभी तो बड़ा होगा ना.
जी सर.
अच्छा, सपोज रिवर्स, फर्नीचर वैल्यू इन द करंट ईयर इज 10, प्रीवियस ईयर इट वाज 13, तो 3,000 का आपने सेल कर दिया होगा.
Yes, sir.
तो वो सोर्स हो गई होगी आपकी.
Yes, sir.
अब इसी कॉन्टेक्स्ट में आप बताइए, सपोज एक और एग्जांपल दे दें, आपका प्रीवियस ईयर में शेयर कैपिटल वाज 10,000 और इस बार शेयर कैपिटल करंट ईयर में आप देख रहे हैं 12,000. तो क्या हुआ? 2,000 का क्या रहा होगा? ये
Application.
Decrease. Source.
Application.
अब दोनों में से एक तो करेक्ट होगा.
So source. Because shares increase हो रहे हैं तो कैश आ रहा है हमारे पास.
शेयर्स इंक्रीज हो रहे हैं तो हमने फ्रेश शेयर इशू किए होंगे ना,
Yes, sir.
तभी तो आपके पास बैंक में पैसा बढ़ा होगा. तो ये आपका सोर्स हुआ. तो आर द एग्जांपल्स ऑफ सोर्स एंड एप्लीकेशन क्लियर?
Yes, sir.
If the examples of source and application are clear, in that context you tell me if this 15,000 rupees increase in working capital is a source of fund or application of funds.
The application.
Just write your roll number like this, M101S if you are taking it as source, or M101 as A, that is you are taking it as a application. Now Shazib, you must write now your new roll number. Sabah Mujib, Sabah Hassan, Chavez, Arham,
Okay, sir.
अरूसा, आप इन सब लोगों के नंबर चेंज हुए ना?
जी सर.
तो ये डिपार्टमेंट ने बताया आपको? किसने बताया?
सर बताया नहीं एक्चुअली सर, मैं कल ऐसी वेबसाइट विजिट किया तो उसमें मैंने देखा कि अपडेट हो गया एडमिशन.
कहाँ क्या एक्सेस किया था आपने?
सर जो ऑनलाइन एडमिशन पोर्टल था ना सर, काउंसलिंग वाला.
हाँ.
तो उस पर मैंने बस कल लाइक रैंडमली मैंने चेक करने के लिए ओपन किया था कि अपडेट हुआ कि नहीं हुआ, तो एडमिशन कार्ड मैंने ओपन किया तो उस पर अपडेट हो गया था.
अच्छा, ठीक. Yes. Okay. Now I'll just 1 second. Just 1 second, I am typing something.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, it is written course instead of source in the PPT.
Yes, sir,
Just
in the
wait.
last line.
1 second, 1 second. Let me go back to the to slide, or where are you pointing out? Please tell me.
Last line. Slide का
The
last
last line.
or application. Or application. Yes, sir.
It should be source line.
Source.
Okay, good. It is source or application, correct. Thank you so much. You have already answered your question. That, now let me explain it a bit. And before I explain, I'll just need a break of about 5 minutes. So in that 5 minutes, I am giving you a small assignment that you need to work out and keep it ready. You have seen, I have just shown you the calculation of debt equity ratio using very few combinations. I am giving you some more figures. You work out the combination using these debt equity ratio and calculate what will be EPS at 2.1, what will be EPS at 4.1, 6.1, 6 is to 1, 8 is to 1, 9 is to 1. What will be the effect on EPS with these debt equity ratio? When we join the class, I'll take back you to the same situation where were we, so that I can tell you the magnitude and other things which otherwise is not possible. So just give me a break of about 5 minutes. I'll come back. Yes, we can resume now. Have you tried to make the calculations?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let me show you the slide. I'll stop this presentation and move to the second one. Will load that slide. Just one second. Let me check if it is that one. No, it is not that. I need to come back to that slide 34 to 43. This is okay. Can you see the slide now? No.
Not yet.
Not yet.
No,
Yet.
sir.
No.
No, sir.
I'll share it. Can you see it now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I asked you to work out certain things. You would have certainly worked out. Look at serial number 10. Serial number 10. It is 4:2. Equity is 8. Debt equity, you can say 2:8, 1:4. 3:7, 2:3, 1:1, 3:2, 7:3, 4:1, and 9:1. Look at these two extremes. 9:1. At 9:1, what is your EPS?
5.5.
5.5.
5.5. Look at just 4:1. Is it 4:1? No? Correct. 4:1.
Yes,
What
sir.
is EPS?
3.
3. See, you are changing debt from 800 to 900. In terms of percentage, it is just 11% roughly.
Yes, sir.
From 800 to 900, it is 11%. And by what magnitude is your EPS increasing? 3 to 5.5, almost 100%. Had it been 6, it would have been 100. That means only change of 11% in the debt equity ratio is changing, or debt from debt to second level of debt, it is changing by 80-90%, by 90%. So if you observe this table carefully, you will notice several things. If you see percent change in debt, it is 50%, 33%, 25%. And what is the change in trend in increase in EPS? It is more. Change in EPS 7.9%, 9.8%, 12%, 16%, 83%. This is only mathematical. One needs to see the observation. You can read it several times. You will come to know about the great observations. Let me explain to you the part which I left unexplained before leaving the class for about 5-6 minutes. It is that, see, you have said risk, you have said several things which were correct, but to explain it, from the point of view of economics and from the point of view of further realities in the world. Look at this. If debt is 200, then 300, then 400, then 500, what is the demand of debt is increasing, isn't it? If you see the slide, what is happening? If the companies want to do so, demand of debt will increase. If demand of anything increases, what happens?
So supply has to
Supply
Rate
is
of interest
restricted.
increases.
Supply will also increase.
Sir, is
No,
restricted.
sir.
If demand is increasing and supply is restricted, what will happen?
Price
So
increases,
interest
sir.
rate.
Price will increase.
Second condition that you pointed out, if the demand is increasing, supply is restricted. In this case, is this assumption true, or supply will also or may also increase?
So there's a possibility the supply may increase.
Supply may increase. Any other answer?
The interest on
No.
interest rate will increase.
State the question that I asked. When debt is more in demand, demand is ever increasing, will the supply of debt continue to increase, or supply will not increase?
No, sir, it will not increase, sir.
It will not increase because
So resources are limited.
See, it will not increase because the entire availability of money is constant. Money that is available with you is 100 rupees. You take a decision how much you want to invest in debt and how much you want to invest in equity. Let us say you have decided 20 in debt and 80 in equity. If demand of anyone increases, that you will reshuffle within these only 70 debt and 30 equity, or 90 equity and 10 debt. So this 100 will remain constant. The supply of money throughout the world, if you take it as a globe, will remain constant. The only and only effect would be that interest rate will increase. Everybody is demanding debt, so interest rate will increase. If interest increases, profitability will decrease. If profitability decreases, EPS will also decrease. So this is one reason why is it impossible to have a scenario like this. Another logic, somebody rightly pointed out, if you have more debt, you carry more risk. What is the implication of carrying more risk? Who is carrying risk? Equity shareholders or debenture holders?
Equity shareholders.
Equity shareholders.
In fact,
Equity
both are
shareholders.
carrying risk. Why both are carrying risk? If you have more debt, you have more interest liability. In case of default, everyone will be affected. And equity shareholders are also carrying great risk. So what will happen if they are carrying great risk? What will be the implication of taking more risk?
So there is a possibility of company that company can face losses.
Any other reason? You are investing in a company which has great risk. What will be your expectation?
Sir, I don't invest in
High
that
profit.
company.
Higher investment,
High
and
profit.
more return.
Higher investment.
Higher return. So when you expect higher return, the company should make more profit to satisfy you. So company will be under pressure from your side, under pressure from debenture holder side, under pressure from paying higher interest of rate. So it will not resort to such a high debt equity ratio, because practically it will be impossible. Like this, there are several reasons which, in a simple words, economically can be explained using the concept of economics, that these are all hypothetical situations. But because to explain the concept, it was desired to show it using various slides. I'll close this slide here and we'll go on to the fund flow statement, unless we have anything more to ask.
So what will be the feasible ratio
Okay,
for debt?
I'll answer that. I'll answer that. Before I do that, can you post your calculations here? What were your debt equity ratio at various? What were your EPS at various?
Yes, sir.
Kindly post it using your roll number. I just want to see how many of you also went out along with me, and how many actually sat down and calculated. बहुत से लोग चाय वाय पीने चले गए होंगे ना इस बीच में. Correct. Post the way Adil has posted. 2:1, 2.03, 4:1, 3, 6:1, 3.9, 8:1, 5.04. Don't copy and paste. जो आपने कैलकुलेट किया उसको आप all right, I'll stop sharing this slide and we'll come to another one. Okay, this I'll need to stop sharing and this I'll okay. I'm sharing the screen once again after leaving this. So I was here when I took a break. That is explaining you that change in working capital is a source or application. You will get a clear-cut answer by answering few more questions. Under what condition working capital will increase? Let me repeat. Under what condition net working capital will increase? If there are more of current assets. Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Alternatively, if there are less of current,
Liability.
Liabilities.
okay. Under these two conditions, your working capital will increase. Are you convinced?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now let us take just last example. When your liabilities decrease. Let me take an example of decrease in liability. Your creditors in 2019 were 10,000. Creditors in 2019 were 10,000. Now your creditors are 4,000. What is the interpretation?
So liabilities has decreased क्योंकि आपके creditors कम हुए हैं तो आपके पास
You have paid them 6,000 rupees. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
If you pay them 6,000 rupees, is it a source or application?
Application.
Application. Okay, I stop here. Give you another example from asset side. This example I give you from liability side. I'll give you an example from asset side. You said that working capital, if increases when current assets increases.
Yes,
Suppose your current asset, let us say stock. There can be several examples. Your stock in the previous year was 15,000. Now your stock is 20,000. There is increase in stock. Do you have bought stock worth rupees 5,000 more? Is it a source or application?
Application, sir.
Application. So having understood these two examples and agreed also, now tell me, increase in net working capital will be a source or application?
Application.
By all means, it will be an application.
Application.
Now have you understood why is it will be application?
Yes, sir.
And decrease will be
So source.
Okay. So now find out this part I have explained to you. In this case,
Sir, I have a question.
just one second. In this case, is it a source? Spelling wrong, huh? Yes.
Sir, like in the previous example, you said creditors. Hamad, can you please mute yourself? Sir, in the previous example, like you said, creditors paid creditors worth rupees 6,000. So, sir, in that case, cash amount is also decreasing, and
Yes.
creditors is also decreasing. So, what would be the effect on working capital? Then
No, we are calculating the effect on net working capital. The example I gave you, just keep in mind that example and tell me, is it the transaction or the situation is an application or source? Are you spending money or you are receiving money?
spending.
Spending means application and receiving means source, isn't it?
Yes.
That is why it is an application. So last line, is this a source or application? I have explained to you. What is the answer? It is application.
Application.
Logic also I have explained to you. Now we can move on to the second slide. Techniques of analyzing financial statement, it continues. You have second step. The second step is changes in a fixed asset. Now look at, suppose, find out closing balance. So closing balance means previous year, opening balance means current year. Suppose fixed asset closing balance was 10,000. Closing balance was 10,000. Opening balance is 60,000.
So it's not a 10,000.
Let me, sorry?
10,000 नहीं है ना लिखा. 1 lakh.
Let me write here. It is, let us say, 2020, and this is 2019. 2019 में your balance was 60 and 2020 your balance is 1 lakh. What does this indicate?
So application.
जब आपने शुरू किया 2019 में तो आपके पास
60,000
का बैलेंस था। जब आपने क्लोज किया तो आपका बैलेंस 1 लाख हो गया। तो ये 40,000 क्या हुआ? What is the conclusion that you can draw?
Sir, assets purchase.
Assets purchase. बैलेंस एसेट का क्यों बढ़ेगा? भाई एसेट अकाउंट में बैलेंस अगर बढ़ रहा है तो क्यों बढ़ता है?
कि आपने एक्सपेंस किया है तो वो एक तरह मनी स्पेंड किया, इसलिए आपका एसेट्स बढ़ा है, तो वो आपका एप्लीकेशन हो गया।
ये एप्लीकेशन हुआ, करेक्ट। आपके पास एसेट 60,000 के थे जब आपने शुरू किया था और क्लोज करने पर आपके एसेट 1 लाख है। तो द ओनली इन्फरेंस दैट वन कैन ड्रॉ इज दैट एसेट्स हैव इंक्रीज्ड बाय 40,000 ओनली बिकॉज वी वुड हैव परचेज्ड, एंड दिस परचेज वुड हैव बीन सोर्स और एप्लीकेशन?
Application.
Suppose I ask another question, कि there is a possibility इस एसेट का आप कोई नाम दे दीजिए, लेट अस से फिक्स एसेट्स है और इसका नाम आप बिल्डिंग रख दीजिए, बिल्डिंग, ठीक है ना? तो बिल्डिंग आपको ये कह सकता है आप में से कि साहब बिल्डिंग जो है 60,000 की थी, अब एप्रिशिएट होकर के 1 लाख की हो गई?
नेवर सर।
क्यों नहीं कह सकते ऐसा?
कह सकते हैं सर।
तो बोल सकते हैं वैल्यू इंक्रीज,
वैल्यू इंक्रीज हो गई है।
सर्किल रेट बढ़ गया, माइट बी।
सर्किल रेट बढ़ गया, बहुत दूर तक के तुमने सोची कि सर्किल रेट बढ़ गया। अच्छा, ओके, जस्ट 1 सेकेंड। एप्रिसिएशन ना, एप्रिसिएशन इन द वैल्यू ऑफ बिल्डिंग, मतलब आपका कहना ये है एप्रिसिएशन इन द वैल्यू ऑफ बिल्डिंग फ्रॉम कितना था, 60,000 टू 1 लाख
हो गया सर।
1 लाख। आप अपना रोल नंबर लिखिए और ये लिखिए यस और नो, क्विकली करिए, ज्यादा वक्त मत लगाइए। राइट डाउन योर रोल नंबर एंड राइट यस और नो। अरे मोइन, तुम ना रोल नंबर तो लिखो। मोइन, तुमने सिर्फ खाली ये लिखा, दोबारा लिखो अपना रोल नंबर के साथ।
कर दिया सर, रोल नंबर
लिख दिया दोबारा?
यस सर।
अभी बहुत लोगों ने नहीं लिखा, जल्दी लिखिए। यू शुड राइट एज फास्ट एज पॉसिबल। इसमें कोई आपको यस और नो लिखना। लेट मी जस्ट क्लोज द डोर, some vehicle is moving, making lot noise. Just close the door coming. Has everybody written?
Yes sir.
Yes sir.
Good. तो आपके ख्याल से ये 60,000 से जो बढ़ के 1 लाख हुआ है, इट इज बिकॉज ऑफ एप्रिसिएशन। चलिए, अनम तुमने लिखा है कि नहीं? तस्कीन तुमने भी लिखा नहीं, तुम बताओ ऐसा क्यों नहीं है? कोई रीजन है तुम्हारे पास जो लिखने का? भाई कोई लॉजिक तो होगा। तुमने एन लिखा है, सबा तुमने भी एन लिखा है, और ये अनम, कोई आप में से कोई बताया क्यों लिखा आपने नो? चलिए, आप नहीं बता पा रहे, कोई और बताया जिसने नो लिखा है?
Sir, cause we have to record it in the books of account at market price or at cost price, whichever is less. So appreciation का कोई केस आता ही नहीं है. We used to depreciate it, and this could possibly be purchases of another building.
चलिए, और कोई लॉजिक बता दीजिए। ये आपका लॉजिक पार्टली करेक्ट है।
So the increase in amount due to stock.
और बताइए।
Practically, it is not possible to appreciate a building with this heavy amount of value.
अच्छा, ये तो ज्यादा गड़बड़ हो गई। आपने कोई लैंड खरीदा 1,000 रुपए का, 1 साल बाद वो 2,000 का नहीं हो सकता? वो तो 10 लाख का भी हो सकता। प्रैक्टिकली तो सभी कुछ पॉसिबल है ना। ऑल ऑफ यू हु हैव रिटन यस और एन विदाउट अप्लाइंग योर माइंड, That is wrong. You should apply your mind. You should be able to defend why have you written. And even if you have written why with some consideration के भी appreciate हो गया, ये हो गया, वो हो गया, you still are missing something seriously on the accounting conventions.
Conservatism?
Conservatism क्या कहता?
So maybe I'm not sure. So as per conservatism principle, we have to take into consideration all the possible losses without taking expected incomes.
Expected income. तो ये जो appreciation है ये आपका expected ही तो है ना?
Yes, sir.
तो क्या expected को record कर सकते हैं?
Unless it is invoiced.
That means एक तो ये लॉजिक है, दूसरा एक और लॉजिक इससे बेटर है, वो ये करेक्ट नहीं है, आपका अप्रोक्सीमेट हो सकता है लेकिन 100% करेक्ट नहीं है। 100% करेक्ट लॉजिक एक और आपको मैंने कॉन्सेप्ट से एक्सप्लेन किया था जो आप रिकॉल नहीं कर पा रहे हैं।
सर हिस्टोरिकल कॉस्ट,
ये क्या बताया था उसमें
सर कि जिस प्राइस पे बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट पे हम लोग एंटर करते हैं वैल्यू, वही मतलब कंटिन्यू करी जाती है इवन इफ इट्स अप्रिशिएटिंग, वी डू नॉट कैलकुलेट दैट।
यस, कॉस्ट कॉन्सेप्ट में बताया था कि नहीं? और उसमें ये भी बताया था आपको कि वैल्यू ऑफ फिक्स्ड एसेट विल बी शोन एट द बुक प्राइस माइनस व्हाट?
Depreciation.
माइनस डेप्रिसिएशन।
Depreciation.
कहीं एप्रिसिएशन का जिक्र तो आया ही नहीं, माइनस डेप्रिसिएशन। So that means appreciation cannot ever be recorded. अब ये तो जरा सा बात थोड़ी सी गड़बड़ लगती है भाई कि देखिए अब इस स्टेज पे आकर के if I revise accounting convention once again तो मुश्किल हो जाएगी। That means if increase in the value from 60 to 1 lakh, it is impossible to go for appreciation. So appreciation is ruled out because of the cost concept. Appreciation is ruled out. What remains is purchase only. The building would have been purchased. So purchase of building is an application. Okay, is it clear now? Or you still have some question? Any question or the doubt is clear?
Clear, sir.
Clear. Why? Because value of building is moving up from 60 to 1 lakh. Correct?
1 lakh, sir.
1 lakh. So that means that nothing appreciation would not have been possible because appreciation is not recorded. When appreciation is not recorded, what you are left with? Only purchases. Isn't it? Only purchases. Therefore, we can say that we have bought the building for rupees 40,000 in the current year, and this is our application. Now go to the next line. Now, buildings or any fixed asset is always subject to depreciation. So we have also to factor in the depreciation part. If we incorporate depreciation, somehow the following situation is likely to emerge. Let us assume that building or all fixed assets are subject to 20% depreciation. We have just assumed. It can be 30%, it can be 35%, it can be 15%. But we assume that fixed assets in the current example are subject to depreciation. Now we have got three figures with us: opening balance, closing balance, and depreciation. These figures are available with us or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Suppose we prepare furniture account. We gave this account as a building. So just write building or furniture, doesn't matter. We just assume it was building. So let us say we write here building account. So which you have got opening balance. No, first is closing balance. Which side you will record closing balance? Debit or credit?
Debit. So opening or closing?
Closing.
So credit side.
Closing credit side.
Credit. Closing credit side. फिर सोच के बताइए क्लोजिंग कहाँ लिखेंगे?
Credit.
Sir, assets have a debit balance, so we
You
will
are
write
right.
the closing
Hold
balance.
on, hold. Stay here. Assets have a debit balance. उनका ओपनिंग बैलेंस कहाँ लिखा जाएगा?
Debit side.
डेबिट में. तो क्लोजिंग कहाँ लिखा जाएगा?
Credit side.
क्रेडिट में. तो ओपनिंग हमने डेबिट में लिखा 60,000 और क्रेडिट में लिखा उनका क्लोजिंग. दो अमाउंट हमने इनके लिख लिए. Now third information that we have with us is about the depreciation. So how much will be 20%?
12,000.
20% of which opening or closing?
Opening.
ओपनिंग पर ही चार्ज करेंगे. यू आर राइट. ओपनिंग पर चार्ज करेंगे 12,000. तो डेप्रिसिएशन कहाँ लिखेंगे? डेबिट में या क्रेडिट में?
क्रेडिट में.
Credit.
High in the credit side.
Expenses.
Have I made some mistakes in the slide or you
So decreasing the value of asset.
Decreasing the value. Depreciation reduces the value of asset. Reduction in asset is credited. Therefore, it will be in the credit side of building account. Any question here?
Sir, depreciation तो पूरे उस पे लगेगा ना, मतलब even the assets that we've purchased.
Asset we have purchased. Okay. Asset अगर हमने परचेज किया है इस साल के अंदर उस पर भी लगेगा. ठीक. लेकिन ये बताइए कि इस वक्त हमारे पास इंफॉर्मेशन क्या है? हमारे पास क्या क्या इंफॉर्मेशन अवेलेबल है? ओपनिंग बैलेंस, क्लोजिंग बैलेंस एंड डेप्रिसिएशन. कितना परचेज किया ये तो आप कैलकुलेशन से निकाल के लेके आएंगे ना. नंबर 1. नंबर 2, आपने कब परचेज किया ये भी इंफॉर्मेशन इसमें नहीं है.
राइट सर.
1 जनवरी को या 31 दिसंबर को. So whatever information is currently available, we incorporate that information. Opening 60, closing 100, depreciation 12. All these three information that were available with us, we have incorporated. Any question up to this stage, because it is important, you will need to know it for all time to come. जितने भी इसके एक्सरसाइज होंगे उन सब में आपको ये जानना जरूरी होगा. तो क्या है ये बताइए. ये 12,000 और 60,000 1 लाख की फिगर्स हमने क्यों लिखी इन जगह? क्लियर हो गए?
Yes.
Okay. Now, which side, total of which side is more, debit or credit?
Credit.
Credit. So we write the same total on both sides. 112 here, 112 here. And now take out the difference. Difference between 112 and 60 is 52. It is your balancing figure, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
52 is your balancing figure. If you need to balance the account, you need to put something, you need to put an amount, you need to place an amount of 52,000 on the debit side. Only then the account will be, both sides will be equal.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, if you write 52,000 on debit side, what does it mean? That your asset is increasing.
Increasing, sir.
Acha. Under what condition will asset increase?
When we purchase.
When you buy it. When you buy,
Sir,
correct.
when
You bought an asset for rupees 52,000. When you buy an asset for 52,000, what do you debit and what do you credit?
Asset of
Purchase
debit.
debit and bank credit.
Yes.
Asset is debited. In debit side, you will write its opposite, that is bank. One thing is clear, that you bought 52,000 is the difference. Under what condition this will be possible? In debit side, only when it is purchased. When you buy, you pass an entry. When this entry is transferred to ledger, this is how it will appear. So in the ultimate analysis, how much was your application? 40,000 or 52,000? You bought asset or you bought building in the current year for 40 or 52?
52, sir.
52.
52. So if is the calculation which is appearing on your screen under the head of ledger of building account is clear to all these 4 figures?
Yes.
Look at it once again and me if you have any question up to this stage. See, you will be able to do it only if you revise it at home, go through it properly again and again, you will understand. recklessly do not decide, think over it, and then when you decide you should be able to answer also, but that should not stop you answering. If you answer only, then I'll come to know that you have not correctly answered, and I'll make the situation clear. Like in the current situation, when you wrote yes, that building appreciated, तो मैंने एक्सप्लेन किया आपको कि appreciate building होगी. No doubt building will appreciate from 40,000 to 40 lakh, 4 crore, 40 crore. Building will appreciate. Think of any company which has started its office maybe 50 years ago in Bombay, spending 1 lakh rupees on the erection of a building. 50 साल पहले 1 लाख रुपए में बिल्डिंग बनाई थी. आज कितने की होगी वो?
10
So
करोड़
might be crore, maybe.
Might be 1 crore. Let us say 10 crore. बुक्स में कितना दिखाएंगे? 1 लाख दिखाएंगे, 1 करोड़ दिखाएंगे?
Zero.
जीरो. क्यों दिखाएंगे जीरो?
Sir, it would have depreciated.
ओके, ठीक है, बिल्कुल. कितनी डेप्रिशिएट हो गई होगी?
Sir, 50 years में तो पूरी ही हो गई होगी.
अच्छा, पूरी. तो फिर वैल्यू क्या दिखाएंगे बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट में, बताइए?
कॉस्ट ऑफ
अच्छा, ठीक है, ठीक है. फिर मान लीजिए हर साल 2% डेप्रिसिएशन चार्ज करते हैं, तो 50 साल में जीरो हो गया होगा. Isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Correct.
बट सर हर साल
Now,
परचेजेस भी तो होंगे, जैसे इस केस में
परचेजेस भी
हुआ.
होंगे. चलिए ये मान के चलिए थ्योरेटिकली कि एक बिल्डिंग बनाई, वो बिल्डिंग वैसी है, उसमें रेनोवेट कराते रहे, उसको पेंट कराते रहे, वो कराते रहे, और बिल्डिंग जो है अब भी उसी शेप में है, 1 इंच स्पेस बढ़ा नहीं है, और वो उसकी डेप्रिशिएट करते करते वैल्यू जीरो हो गई. तो क्या बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट में वैल्यू जीरो दिखाएंगे? चलिए, जीरो नहीं दिखा रहा है, ये मान लीजिए 10 रुपए है उसकी वैल्यू. बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट में कितनी है?
10 रुपए से
10 रुपए है. अब अगर हम ये कहें कि टाटा एंड सन्स आर शोइंग द वैल्यू ऑफ देयर बिल्डिंग इन देयर अकाउंट एज ₹10 while the building is worth 10 crore, are they presenting the correct and fair picture of their accounts?
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
तो फिर कोई इस पे ऑब्जेक्ट क्यों नहीं करता? इतने लोग उसके शेयर होल्डर्स हैं, गवर्नमेंट है, आप सब लोग हैं, सेबी है, दुनिया भर के रूल्स हैं. जब उनकी बैलेंस शीट देखते हैं, उसमें दिखाते हैं बिल्डिंग 1 लाख रुपए और बिल्डिंग की वैल्यू 10 करोड़ है. तो व्हाई डोंट दे आस्क टाटा एंड सन्स कि व्हाई द हेल आर यू शोइंग ए बिल्डिंग ऑफ रुपीज जस्ट 1 लाख व्हाइल इट इज वर्थ 10 करोड़? क्यों नहीं करते ऐसा?
तो क्योंकि उसमें परचेजेस हैं,
सर 1 लाख में या 10 लाख में खरीदी थी.
we have made purchases and
My question still remains unanswered. Are they following the fair
Yes,
rules
sir.
Yes, sir,
of
they are
the
following
books
the
of
fair.
accounts? Are they fair,
Yes,
or
sir.
they are showing incorrect values of their balance sheet in their assets and liabilities?
Sir, they are fair.
They are fair. कैसे फेयर होगा जब 1 लाख रुपए की, 1 करोड़ रुपए की चीज को 1 लाख में दिखा रहे हैं?
सर वो उन्होंने 1 लाख में
cost
खरीदी थी,
concept
फिर वही शो
है.
करेंगे ना.
They are following cost
जब
concept.
बेचेंगे तब वो 1 करोड़ की होगी ना.
सर वो बुक वैल्यू
जी?
पे ही शो
वो
करेंगे.
बेचेंगे तब 1 करोड़ की होगी ना.
आप ये
सर
बता
करंट
दीजिए.
मार्केट वैल्यू
Okay.
1 करोड़ है,
Then
मगर
how
परचेज वैल्यू
is it that we can say that accounts are showing true financial health of a company? Is my question clear? सोचिए इसके
Yes,
बारे
sir.
में कि why do we say that accounts show true financial health of a company, and although according to rupees 10 crore, and the companies are showing only 50 lakh or 10 lakh or anything which is far maybe 1/10 or 1/1000, 1 by thousands. आपने ठीक
Sir, because
because yes, go ahead, Tasneem.
We record it at the price, because we record it at the price, but not at the worth of the
कोई
building.
बात नहीं, बस मेरा सवाल,
According to cost.
then how do people take a decision? भाई वो देखेंगे इनकी बिल्डिंग तो सिर्फ 10,000 रुपए की है, ये तो बेकार है कंपनी. Is there any mechanism which ensures in spite of all these things account will still show the current value, the true state of affair of a company or true financial health of a company? सोचिएगा इसके बारे में. If you are not able to answer, ask me, I'll explain. So we were at changes in the fixed asset, and this part is clear to you. I'll move on to the next slide. Before that, if there are any questions, ask me. Let me see what is there in the next slide. Okay, this is
Sir, will the 52?
52.
Thank you.
इसलिए 52 होगी, देखिए इसलिए 52 होगी कि आपने कितना खर्च किया होगा, लेट अस टॉक इन रियल टर्म्स. For how much money would you have bought building? 52 or 40? 52. Only then these four figures will match.
Right.
Isn't it? See, when you started, your building was 60.
Yes,
And
sir.
what was its real value after depreciation? 60 minus 12, that is 48.
Yes, sir.
48. Now you have 100. Under what conditions will this become 100?
When we purchase.
Sir, 52.
When you buy for 52.
Got it, sir.
Isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Now look at this slide once again. Find out closing balance, find out opening balance. These two balances will be given in the balance sheet. Now difference straight away can be application or source. Isn't it? But because fixed assets are subject to depreciation, so we need to incorporate the value of depreciation also. In order to incorporate the value of depreciation, a common or a simple method could be to prepare its ledger account. To prepare ledger account, we know which side opening balances are written, which side closing balances are written of an asset. Had this been a liability, these balances would have been written on opposite side.
Yes, sir.
Because liability says just opposite to asset. So we have written two opening and closing balances. We have also incorporated the depreciation amount, whichever side it should be, and then we took out a difference. And difference is our either asset or application or source. Had these figures been different, it would have been the opening and this would have been closing. Then 52 would have been on the other side, that is sales, and that would have been our source. So each transaction that you do, each figure that you analyze results in either a source or application. So we find out what are the sources, we find out what are the applications. There were 4 steps, 2 steps I have explained to you. One was with respect to current assets and current liabilities, that is net working capital, and the other with respect to changes in fixed asset. In this example, there is an application. You may have several assets, 4, 5, 6, 7 assets. One could be purchase, the other could be sales. One could be source, the other could be application. All could be application, all could be sources. So we list down all sources at one place, all applications on another place. At the end of day, all our applications should be equal to all sources. So 2 steps I have explained, 3 more or 2 more I'll explain to you, and then we will have it a final statement. So because of, again, there are a lot of holidays in between, so your classes will be conducted for tomorrow as well as the day after. On a Sunday, there will be no classes. I'll post it also in the group. All right?
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
So if there are questions, it is okay. If not, then I can, just 1 second, I will close the meeting. Yes. You can leave the meeting now.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Volumes.
Sir, we will have offline examination.
I have no idea because see about the examinations, the only office can perhaps clarify. Whatever we are asked, we will follow that. Office जो भी हमसे कहेगा वही हमें करना पड़ेगा. अगर ऑफिस ऑफलाइन कहता तो भाई ऑफलाइन करेंगे, ऑनलाइन कहता तो ऑनलाइन करेंगे. इसमें तो we have no choice. But you don't worry about the examination. अगर आपकी तैयारी अच्छी है तो आप ऑफलाइन हो ऑनलाइन हो, क्या दिक्कत है आपको?
सर, आज का जो हमारे क्लास थी उसे हम डे 28, 29 दोनों को साथ में लिखेंगे ना?
जी, दोनों को साथ में लिखेंगे. दोनों डेट डाल दीजिए.
ओके, थैंक यू सर.